we are all set. Now we're ready to go.
Looks like we're live. Alrighty, welcome to everybody watching on your computers, either live or at home. I'd like to call the October meeting of the Waltham Public Library Board of Trustees meeting to order. Live. Alrighty, welcome to everybody watching on your computers, either live. Oh God.
Do I sound like that? I'm so sorry. Let me mute
Meeting
you
of
two.
the Waltham Public Library.
Sorry about that. You were playing in my background too. Now we're all set.
All righty. I believe we got attendance pretty well set. And so I'd like to call for review or comments on the prior minutes. I spotted two little typos, perhaps. See, coming down through report on library operations, right below that, circulations, statistics, reports. I think we got a couple of too many S's there, maybe.
Yeah.
Beats me.
And then on the second page under new business, last paragraph, last line, we got two nows in a row. And I think one of them is supposed to be not now or something. That is not now. That is now no longer, probably.
I will fix that and send it back out. Thank you for the.
All right. It's that school teacher eye. Any other comments or corrections for the minutes?
I
If
move
not-
to approve the minutes.
Sounds good. That was Martha. Steve, you got a second?
But get off the mute second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Alrighty. And let's see. Looking at the various reports for library operations.
Obviously, the expenditure report looks a little bit different. If you've had time to review it, I'm not sure if you have questions. I actually wanted to really quickly share my screen so I could show you. Now you.
Wow. I'm about to be really impressed by some higher understanding of technology here.
Yeah. This is, so you should be able to see, if you see, I'm moving my mouse, the fiscal year 21 EPOs. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
So this is, I just wanted to show you what I was pointing out in my email about the expenditure report, because it is a lump sum this year instead of individually broken down into categories. We've gone ahead and just broken down, you can see here the appropriation. And then down below is our breakdown of total spending throughout this fiscal year. And this is all of Molly's really great work. I do not want to take full credit for it, but this helps keep us all organized. It's sort of this similar, it's, you know, the Google version of what the expenditure report typically looks like. So I did want to show you that we had this individual breakdown. The numbers are a little bit arbitrary because we're sort of self-appropriating what goes into each account, but we are keeping track separately from what you're seeing in the expenditure report, which doesn't have the original budgeted amount. Does that make sense? I wasn't sure if my email.
So the one that you forwarded to us, what's the origin of that?
The one that I forwarded you, that's the one from the city. So those are the actual live numbers as of September 30th.
Okay.
I think, you know, a good example, the easiest example to really talk about would be if you look down to sorry, the educational supplies account, the 5510 account. So that's our account for all our circulating materials. You'll see it doesn't have an appropriated amount. I'm sorry, it doesn't have an original budget amount.
Okay,
We'll probably spend around 360 this year. And then if you scroll over to expend, that's the exact amount that we've spent so far as of September 30th. So it's telling you that we're 100% expended, but there's no original budget. So the percentages are all off.
okay,
So the real way to, I guess, probably to look at this is to go all the way down to the library total just to see about where we are. We're at about 24% of our total budget expended, which is pretty normal for, we're about a quarter of the way, first quarter in the fiscal year. So that feels pretty good to me. And then
Okay.
the document that I'm showing you on my screen is just to break down the individual spending. So we're keeping track in smaller accounts versus that total bottom line of operating expenses, the 4076.
boy, seems like it's just another extra set of paperwork to be done after you just gotten control of it all last year so nicely.
Yeah, but you know what? This does help us. At least I like to know exactly where the money is at all times. So this is a really helpful, having it on this screen this way and putting it on Google Sheets so that we can access it at all times is very, very useful. So I did just want to show you that we were breaking it down, even though it's not, so far, it's not really pulled out that way in the expenditure report.
Okay, and it ties in to the city report, but it's actually live. As I saw Molly had updated it 40 minutes ago or something, yeah.
Correct, yes, exactly. Yep.
Okay,
But overall, I think the budget looks just fine. There's no immediate concerns. Again, it's probably easier to focus on the total amount expended, total percentages expended on the bottom lines, but operating is at 24.85%.
Yep.
We're at about 23.86. So it's the first quarter. So that I think those numbers are right on.
is it going to be possible to evenly sustain the 95% funding across the various line items, or how's that look like it's going to work?
Yeah, I think it's going to be okay for right now. I think it will. Yes.
Okay.
We sort of doled out the money the way we think best, and I'm not concerned right now.
Okay. And we'll still have to keep an eye on the state's requirements for a Mass Board of Library Commissioners, right?
Yep.
Time. Okay. Any other questions or comments? In such case, I'll entertain a motion to place the expenditure report on file.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it was Martha and then Maureen. Great. And personnel?
No real personnel updates right at the moment. Pretty status quo, which is good.
Okay. Well, that's great. Everybody stayed healthy and
So far, so good. Yes.
good. Glad to hear it.
Yep.
All right, Minuteman?
We just actually had a board meeting yesterday, which went well. It was nice to check in with everybody. No real exciting news or changes this month. We are going to be actually organizing a forum for the to talk about libraries who have done some iteration of reopening and are letting patrons in the building. Those libraries are going to present, sort of brief updates on how it's going, problems that they've run into, things that have been really successful, so that the rest of us can learn from them. So I'm looking forward to doing that. We're going to have that on Wednesday, the 21st. So I will update you after I get some more details on that, but that's going to be probably the next item on our agenda.
Anecdotally, heard of any problems or triumphs?
No, honestly, I feel like mostly it's been okay. The libraries that are opening are all green communities, so their COVID numbers are a lot less. People are generally being pretty respectful about wearing, masks and following the new protocols. A lot of the libraries that are open, just again, anecdotally, they're not allowing people to sit or use computers. It's just sort of come in and get the books or browse the books really quickly. They're trying to put about a cap on the time and how many people in the building at the same time. So that's just been interesting because I think there is such a huge demand for the computers. So trying to tweak that element for us is going to be a big thing, but Todd and Laura are working on they've already have a draft plan of what that would sort of look like for us. So
Okay.
yeah, but nobody said anything that was actually shocking or super, super uncomfortable, which is good.
Good, glad to hear it.
Yeah.
All righty, and friends, there was going to be a meeting after our last meeting.
Yeah, the Friends, it was a good meeting, but no real updates on them. I think obviously with so many unknowns, a little bit of concern about, the book sale. Obviously, we're not having a book sale this month, but talking about getting ahead for April. And I think everybody's just sort of on standby. They are working on doing a membership drive. And I think I mentioned this in the last meeting as well. We have flyers for everybody who comes to pick up a hold about joining the Friends, just to encourage that, because they've been so wonderful funding all of our programs, anything that our grants won't cover right now. So we want to make sure that their membership stays robust, but again, pretty status quo, no new changes, no exciting updates.
All righty. Good. Any new business?
Actually, before we do new business, we didn't go over the circulation stats.
We need to go just review.
Oh, I'm sorry.
circulation stats.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Yeah, I prefer we don't look at the comparison to last year because that's a little bit sad. But overall, the numbers are holding pretty strong. We increased in September from August, which was nice to see. We're up just a little bit, but I think we're up by about 2,000 total at the bottom. So if you look at the bottom of these circ stats, so I thought that was actually pretty good. That's more and more business without any actual change to our routine, and that is nice. We did unfortunately drop, let me just double check it so I don't say the number. We're number 13 in terms of Minuteman checkout and renewals. So we were 15 in July, we dropped down to 12 in August, and then we hopped back up to 13 for September. But, all things considered, that's not too bad. Some of these libraries are able to have people in the building because their COVID numbers are a lot less. And as you might be aware, Waltham was put in the red, considered a red community as of yesterday because our numbers are creeping up. So when you factor all of that in, I'm still pretty happy overall. I think that this is still pretty good. Of a tough situation.
Good.
About that. I'm sorry. And then just really quickly for the e-stats, because I have those numbers in front of me as well. Canopy still going strong. Hoopla again also continues to increase. We had talked about. I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the last meeting, but. In August, we had the highest audiobook circulation since we've had the service on Hoopla. And their ebooks and comic books are actually at an all-time high in the past month, which was interesting to see. Overdrive is also still increasing, not necessarily the strongest numbers in compared to fiscal year 20, but those numbers are increased as well. I'm reading my summary. I apologize. I actually don't have those numbers, the literal exact numbers right in front of me right now, but content is still moving forward. We're going to have a discussion next week. The tech services and reference staff and myself and our collection development librarian, just to talk about e-content and get ahead of fiscal year 21. I think it's worth we're constantly doing this, but really sitting down and maybe, since we're a quarter of a way in the fiscal year, trying to restructure some of our materials budget just to make sure that that waiting list for e-content is as low as possible. People aren't waiting that long because I think people still are not comfortable even doing the contactless pickup. So we want to make sure that we just don't want people to wait that long. It's the least that we can do for that part. So just a quick overview of each stuff.
Yep.
Can I ask a question, Kelly?
Of course.
Can you tell what percentage of our patrons that have library cards are in Waltham residents versus non-Waltham residents? Because I'm going to guess that a good percentage of our people that were down is because of the fact that we've got a lot of, I guess, patrons that are non-Waltham residents that just aren't back to work yet. And that may be accounting for some of it.
I think that's true too. And, you know, certainly some of this is on us with limited hours. We know how many Waltham, I hear what you're saying. Breaking down, we can break down circ to see how much circulation is our own patrons or other patrons, but we don't know if that's always, I'm trying to think if we don't normally look at that monthly. We actually look at it yearly to see what our circ is, but yeah, I should look into that.
I mean, and again, the only reason I'm bringing that up is I always think of the fact that a number of years ago, I remember hearing the population of Waltham overnight, those that are sleeping here, are 60,000, and during the day was 120,000 people. So I was just wondering, you know, if you can quantify without doing a lot of work because you got too much other stuff to do.
No,
It's worth looking into, get an idea. Maybe we're less down than we think for Waltham patrons versus patrons that just work in Waltham but aren't coming back to work.
Yeah, I think that's a great thought. And that's a good point too, we get a lot of families from other cities and towns for the children's programming, which then, you know, people come in and check out books. So that, I didn't actually think about that. So I think that's a good point. I'd be very interested to find out what that is. I will definitely get those numbers for you.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Was there any progress on being able to explore expanding the hours of operation?
That's a good question. It's, we're still waiting for the city to work with us, our union, to get that all straightened.
Okay, good.
I don't think there's hesitation on anybody's end. It's just a matter of getting it actually done and written out, but it is probably maybe my number 2 priority at the moment, but yes, a huge
Okay.
priority, because I think that's going to make a big difference.
Well, good. I know it's got to be a concern because with Boston putting a halt on their school hour return to the building program right now. So it's obviously concerns about it around the Commonwealth.
Yep.
Alrighty. Any other new business?
Other new business, I wasn't sure, just wanted to call attention to the new website, if you have not spent any time on it.
Yes.
Really nice. We're super excited about it. Again, we're still making some general tweaks as we go and just getting some feedback from everybody who takes a look at it. Make sure it's user friendly as possible, but I think it looks amazing. It's such an improvement. The staff have been working really hard at, you know, you're so used to telling patrons how to get to a certain database or access something on our old website. So we made a point to make sure everybody spent some significant time with the website so that they could be prepared to say, actually, it's going to look a little bit different when you look at it, but we're super.
I wouldn't be surprised if the electronic circulation goes up with all of the nice buttons for pull downs on the front page.
It's easier to navigate and it's brighter, and
Navigation was so easy.
thank you. That is great to hear. And as you know, as you use it and you see anything, please let us know, because you can very easily change it in-house, thanks to Todd and Julie.
Good.
Also in new business, I'm almost 100% finished meeting with staff. Once I'm done, I'm going to draft up some notes on that to share with everybody on staff, yourselves included. And I've gotten some great feedback. Just a quick refresher, I met with everybody and asked them the same series of questions, things that they had asked, things they like belief, any concerns about sort of anything, just a series of questions on the status of the library, and to use it as a starting off point of the next projects and what we're going to tackle moving forward. And it felt like the right time to do it, even though with all the craziness of a pandemic and trying to balance that out. But everybody has given me such great feedback. It's been an awesome exercise, very, very valuable. The majority of the concerns, and I would say, you know, I did ask everybody what the biggest problem was in the library. They're just really high level, impressive concerns. Like it's an amazing, there was nothing petty like, we don't like the snack options in the vending machine. It was all really great stuff about, you know, equity and justice, and are we doing enough community outreach, and are the patrons able to access materials? And I just heard so many amazing ideas on how we can improve. It was awesome. I was very, very proud of the staff. I did tell everybody it's not, I didn't want it to be an exercise in having to impress me. I wanted it to be a moment where they could be honest and just tell me what was on their mind. But people just came prepared with notes, great ideas. It was awesome. So that's a nice thing to have almost done. Hopefully we finish within another week. I shared with you guys the draft. I emailed it earlier, just a little while ago. That was the draft holidays schedule for 2021, just because this is typically the time of year when we approve that. Deb actually included 2 tentative staff days, which I thought she had pointed out to me, better to have them on there and not need them than to have to last minute pick a day to close to the public. I'm not sure if you want to vote on it now. I thought maybe you would want to take a little time, and we'll just, maybe we could have the vote at the November meeting if that works for everyone.
Sure. I had a question on it. I couldn't remember what we've done on Easter in the past. I know that was one of those anomalous library holidays where the city holiday may be the Monday or the Friday, or the Monday or the Saturday or something, but we're open theoretically on weekends if we're open again by then. And I looked it up, it's April 4th. And I didn't see it noted on the calendar, so.
We are open on, we will be open on Easter. It's not a holiday for us. It's not a holiday for our union. So we will be open. I'm so sorry, I don't have it open right here. We do not have Easter as one of our holidays because the city is typically not open, so it's not a holiday for them, and it is not a holiday for our union. You will also notice, because of a change in the, I'm sorry, this is not actually the change, but you'll also notice we're not always closed on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, but we are this year because if a holiday falls on a Saturday or Sunday, it's observed either on the Friday or Monday. So we're actually going to be closed the full day on Christmas Eve and on New Year's Eve. And that doesn't always happen every year. So I just want to point it out to you why it's different for that, but everything else.
Is Veterans Day actually a Thursday? Isn't it usually? Oh yeah, no, never mind. Never mind.
It's the 11th,
It's the
yeah.
one that
Yeah,
always
it's
moves. with
celebrated
actual-
on the
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
day.
I got it.
Columbus Day is the one that moves, I think, yeah.
It's good to check. And before
Something
that
moves.
actually goes live, we will go back again and have a second set of eyes, make sure that
It is the one that doesn't
actually
move.
Monday, et cetera.
yeah.
But yeah, if it's totally up to you, you can vote on it now, or we can take some time and we'll vote on it in November.
Should we do it in November?
I don't know. Is there anything to look back and check? I mean, I guess just check over through the meetings and then, I mean, through the dates and then take the question marks off the staff meetings. Is that what you're asking?
Just basically, so the holidays are mostly covered by the contract. So you guys sort of formally vote to adopt it and we will make it all public. The staff days, I do need your permission, then I will run it by the mayor to make sure those days are okay. If we end up having the staff days, I think that brings up a good point. We should have them on the calendar just in case. And obviously if we're still closed to the public, it's hard to say what next year will look like, but better to have them on the calendar and plan on it.
And isn't it possible that what may have been canceled this year by having those 2 dates, something could be made up to, or on those days?
Yes, or some of the programs, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm fine to wait till November. I was just trying to figure out
Okay.
why
So
to wait, but.
I guess we're saying tentatively, yes, we approve of the holidays that are handled contractually. In the interim, you'll check with the city hall, see if the staff days are acceptable,
Perfect,
and then move final approval in November, if that makes sense.
great.
Okay.
And then just some really quick new items to share. There was a nice article about the library's project, the archival project to collect the pandemic stories. Brandeis did a nice piece and interviewed Dana, our archivist.
Oh,
And that article along. Also to encourage more people in the community to share their stories with our archive. So we'll have a nice record of what has happened in the past year or so. And we've gotten some really great feedback. I wanted to share really quickly. We had a program on Black women in the history of voting with Kelly Carter Jackson, who's actually spoken at the library before. And it was really well received. We had a lot of live watches and a lot of people came back to, we streamed it on YouTube, so people were able to come back and watch it later. And we got a lot of, not a lot, but a couple of really nice notes from patrons who just said this was a really interesting, great program. If you saw it, it was really interesting on the history of women's suffrage, particularly for the story of Black women. One of the nice things about this was because it was live on YouTube, I was watching it at home, and when I was interrupted by a 4.5-year-old, I was able to just pause the program and come right back. So that was would have been the nice thing about exploring virtual programs, is that I think a lot of people like the convenience of you can watch at home in your pajamas, and if your children interrupt you, you can pause it and come back and watch it later. So that's been really nice. And interestingly enough, the state makes sense. They're tracking for our virtual programs live views, but also subsequent views. So we've been tracking both of those numbers, and it's interesting to see how many people have come back to watch, a program at a more convenient time. There's the holidays, and then just this morning, I got a really nice note from a patron saying thanks because they came to pick up some holds. They took a book bundle, one of the pre-made from the children's room on pirates, and the staff person noticed and said, "We're doing take away crafts." So the children's room has created all these little craft bags where you just take a bag and take it home and with instructions and all the pieces that you need. And the mom sent a really lovely note saying, "Thank you so much. My son got a really big kick out of doing the pirate craft. It was like a big event." And I thought that was it was nice of her to take the time to write to us. Children's room is doing great work, which is not surprising. Those are my little nice news check-ins. And I think that is most of the updates. I'm not sure if you have questions about the financial report that I had emailed out, or the waiver process or anything like that.
I don't think right offhand. I assume it'll get more clarity as time goes on.
Yep.
And I'm confident that you'll be on top of it for us.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah, so far so good. I think it's just a little bit of a waiting game, but yeah.
And it's not just our particular problem, it's all across the whole state, so.
Yes, I think it is certainly looking that way.
Okay, any other unfinished business? Any progress on the art ownership?
Zero progress on the art. I'm not even embarrassed to tell you, there's no progress on that. There's just only so many hours in a day, but it is in the pile of list of things to do. So we will eventually get art in the building, eventually.
All right. Any other announcements?
Yeah, I'm just looking over my notes. I think that's it. And not too much of a change from September, but I feel like during a pandemic, no news is probably good news. Everybody's
That's right. It's not likely to be good news if there is news.
Yep. Working very, very hard. Lots of great programming still happening, and yeah, all good stuff.
I've taken books out a couple of times from pickups and drop-offs. It's gone very smoothly. The folks working the lobby seem to be in great spirits, very friendly as usual, and seemed to go well. The other patrons that were there was virtually no line, just a couple other people, and they all seemed very pleased to be able to come and get materials as well.
Yes, we're glad to see everybody. So that's been a nice to check in with everybody face to face a little bit like that. And we've got the laptop circulating, which is going well, and the wireless printing continuing to go pretty well. Yeah, so far so good.
Great. If there's no other old or new business or announcements, like I said, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All righty. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed?
Wow.
All righty. Well, have a great month, and anything
too.
pops, feel free to reach out. I guess we're all at home and available.